What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the LA Soccer Hub Show. My name is Gio Garcia. Coming to this Monday, May 15th. Already halfway through this month, man. Lots going on. Busy week of footy. We had goals, we had excitement. Saw a little bit of tables. Some people moved up in the table, some people moved down. We're gonna talk about all that and everything else. We got Justin Ruderman joining me once again. And we also got Favian Renko, who's from San Jose. He covers the San Jose Earthquakes. He was at the game this week against the other Galaxy, and he also will probably be at the game against LAFC. So welcome, fellas. How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Great to be with you back again.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thank you so much. I remember when you brought me on to talk about Matias Almeida and those Twitter spaces, and it's a long time coming, though. So thank you again for bringing me on.
Yeah, man. Back now we're dating ourselves. This is Matias Almeida. When Almeida was a coach, we were talking. I remember that's an interesting story because I don't know how we followed each other. So obviously on Twitter,
Yeah,
and I saw that you covered San Jose, and there was a lot of like stuff going on. Yeah, and like social media, Twitter, man. That's how we get connected. And now, obviously, I've seen the great job you've done.
thank you.
Obviously, you covered the MLS Cup. I think that's the last time we hung out, right? We all hung
Yeah.
out.
Unfortunately, it's been a while, but it just takes me back to being on the train in Japan, trying to talk into the mic without anybody hearing me about Matias Almeida. So
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You were in Japan when that was going on. That was an interesting thing. I was like, how is he covering this team from Japan? Like, because you were for work or for military. I forgot what it
yeah,
was.
yeah, I was out there for work, so it was just something like, oh gosh. But no, it was a good experience. I mean, I was at the time the only beat reporter that spoke Spanish, so it was like, oh man, I have to ask Matias a question. So it was nice to be. I gave him kind of my big break, so I was very fortunate. And then when I came back, I started going to the games. But
Yeah, and you're Uruguayan too, right?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I was able to connect with them on that one and be like, "Che, boludo, ¿qué haces?" No,
Yeah. Chévolo. That's an Argentinian thing, yeah, that they always say. But you know what's interesting, just to go off here, because I had a chance to go to South America, but like I didn't realize how the distinct the economic situation was between Uruguay. Obviously, Uruguay and Brazil doing way better than Argentina, but they're just so right next to each other, and it's
right?
it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's crazy. I don't know if you can talk a little bit about that because it just seems like some parts of Argentina, which it's an amazing country, it's beautiful, but it seems like there's some parts are still stuck like back in the day, like
yeah.
1990s. I don't maybe speak on that because it kind of feels like
Yeah.
that when I was there.
Well, Uruguay's in a position where they're extremely lucky because they get all the tourism from Brazil and Argentina, so they get a lot of the money, like the extra money, I would say. But yeah, a place like Argentina, Buenos Aires is beautiful, beautiful city, full of people, full of vibrant personalities. But then you go to other parts of Argentina that unfortunately don't have all of that, all the resources. And but Buenos Aires and Montevideo, the two capitals for the cities, I mean, it's like I mean, even closer than San Diego, LA. Like it's like I would even say Anaheim, Los Angeles. Like it's like right next to each other. So it's something that a lot of people don't realize, and we're always going to be lumped in together, and we're always going to be little brother, big brother type of thing. So it's something that the countries are always linked together for some reason. But yeah, financially, unfortunately, Argentina has a problem with the value of their peso dropping within the week. So it's like, oh, you got to buy your groceries earlier and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's just the lifestyle they always have to live with.
Yeah, no, that was just an interesting thing for me. I didn't realize they were that close. I would have gone. I
Yeah,
wanted to go to Montevideo, but I wasn't able to. A lot's going on, but no, that's cool. Justin, you've been doing some traveling, my man. You were up in the Bay, you were in Monterey, and you also went to Salt Lake City. How's this experience been? Obviously, following LAFC around and covering them these last week or so.
Man, it's been exhausting. No, it's been great. It's been a really good time. Yeah, I went up to the Bay. I'm from Oakland, so easy for me to go up there and watch the game in San Jose, hang out with Favi a little bit there, and then we went to the Monterey game as well, which was really cool. Favi knows his way around Monterey pretty well now. And then yeah, as you mentioned, hopped on a flight then to Salt Lake, and then back to LA now. Finally, for the game against Sporting Kansas City. So 8 games this month, 4 of them away just in the month of May for LAFC, and I believe I will be at every one of them. So very, very busy.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's always a good and exciting, especially once you start, the job you've been doing, which has been incredible, and also just just being able to follow the team around, just being in the press conference. I'm assuming now you're starting, obviously get to know more about the team and all these different things, and it's a very unique experience because it's one thing seeing it on TV. Obviously, it's a different thing. As Fabian also knows too. It's once you're a beat writer, beat reporter, right on there, then you kind of really know all the ins and outs. And everything good right now. LAFC is rolling. They're rolling high, so it's really cool to be in the situation right now. To be, I think, for all of us, just to be able to cover LAFC. I know Fabian, you're at the MLS Cup final, but just to be able to see this team and what they've been able to do within the last 6 months, it just seems like they just keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
Justin, let's talk about obviously RSL. They just came. LAFC just came from like the first loss against San Jose, and over there at Levi Stadium. Obviously, this is a bounce back game. Three big goals. Obviously, we'll talk about Bowango's goal. Banger, was insane. What did you see overall about this game? What did you like? What was the interesting atmosphere there?
Yeah, I think we saw just a clinicality from LAFC, which is really good to see. You want the goals to go in when you're taking the shots on goal, and that's basically what it was because RSL took 20 shots in that game, and they were getting in positions, but they couldn't capitalize, and that's what RSL have been screaming for a long time. They need a true number 9 to put the ball in the back of the net, and they don't have one at the moment. But LAFC has got a few guys who can do that, namely Denny Bwanga, who scored an absolute stunner. But of course, Mahala Poku, that ball over the top from Ilie Sanchez, a 50-yard gorgeous ball assist. It's just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, here's Denny's goal, just a complete rocket. And you just can't leave Denny Bwanga at the top of the box like that. If you leave him space, that's what he's going to do to you, and he's proven that thus far at LAFC. And RSL know that. I was talking to Pablo Mastroeni before the game in Salt Lake, the Salt Lake head coach, of course, and he said that Denny Bwanga is Thierry Henry like. He said that he possesses everything that a striker needs. He's fast, he's strong, he's smart, he can shoot, he can dribble. Anything that you want him to do, he can do. So Denny Bwanga just continues his MVP pace. After it looked like Christian Espinoza took that little lead at Levi Stadium with the 2 goals for himself against LAFC, looks like Denny Bwanga is trying to take that lead right back from him.
Yeah, no, look, it's been impressive. Obviously, Espinoza. Obviously, Fabian, you could probably speak on that, but like seeing what LAFC, because the crazy thing about Denny Bwanga is not just necessarily. Well, I should just say the crazy thing about LAFC and the recruiting is last season we were talking about Chicho Arango, right? We're talking how amazing Chicho Arango was, and we've kind of forgotten about how quickly how amazing Chicho Arango was because Denny Bwanga is even better than Chicho Arango, which is the way he scores goals. He's just overall a better player in every sense, and you're starting to see it. And it's crazy to even say that because Chicho Arango was so massive, so clutch for this team. But it just goes to show on the recruiting and what they're able to scout, and for them identifying the type of players for this team in the system. And for me, I was had questions of the team letting go of Chicho Arango. They haven't missed a bump without Chicho Arango. Denny Bwanga has stepped up, been that guy, been the MVP player, and it's been insane to watch. Fabian, I know you got a Espinoza down there. I don't see him as much as you do, but talk to us a little bit about some of the similarities, obviously, but also the goal leaders there between Denny Bwanga and Espinoza.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, what has changed with Christian Espinoza? Why has he become this monster goal scorer? And after the Levi's game, he talked a little bit about how he knew himself that if he shot closer to goal, that his expected goals would go up and he would have a higher chance of getting more goals in. So it was actually a change that either was told to him by the analytics staff, that if he started shooting closer to goal, that he would score more goals. And he said he was training on that in this off season to shoot closer to goal and hopefully get more goals under his belt because he already beat his career goal total per season for the San Jose Earthquakes, and he's only maybe a third of the way there. So definitely a change that he tried to fix. Also, he doesn't have that much of a defensive kind of responsibility anymore. I mean, he has a legit right back that helps him out with Carlos Acapa when he's healthy, and he can trust him, so he can use a lot more effort going forward. But yeah, a different player this year compared to others. It was a change that he actually saw himself from the analytics team to go ahead and try to work on, and it's worked like a charm.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting seeing obviously the amount of talent that is throughout these MLS teams here in California and everything going. Obviously, we'll see Espinoza versus LAFC this Saturday, but we'll get more into that. Justin, I want to talk to you. I want to talk about obviously the first goal, Mahala, the amazing pass from I believe it was Ilie Sanchez. um these type of goals we've seen them, or these type of assists we've seen them from now, not just Ilie Sanchez, but we've also seen them from Chiellini as well. I think we've seen them at times from Murillo. The pass and obviously just be able to finish that's one thing or another, but we're also starting to see, right, how talented this team is, and just all around. It doesn't matter where the ball is, they can beat you anywhere. And I think that you see where Ilya is he's almost, more obviously way behind the halfway line, and just gets it to T. Mahala brings it down with his chest. Let's talk a little bit about this play in particular.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable goal. This Ilie's first assist of the season. Actually, he's doesn't get involved in the offense as much. Obviously, the defensive midfielder position at the number 6, and that's not his role. But when he sees an opportunity like this, he can spot a ball and play it. I talked to both of them after the match about this play because it was really the play of the match to me, even better than Bouanga's goal, because this ball is sensational. Opoku basically said, we've been training this in practice, and we know that the long ball can hit them. And I saw Ilie had the chance. I saw the run in behind. I just screamed at Ilie and made the run. And Ilie saw it, pinged it over the top. Ilie said, of course, the altitude in Salt Lake helped a little bit to make that pass. It helped to drive the ball a little bit. But yeah, they've been practicing that in training. So it's Steve Cherundolo and his, what he sees comes to fruition in the game as well.
Yeah, look, no, that's a spectacular play, and you just elite play too. Also understanding where the wind is going too, and Mahala is very quick, and he has his motor is insane. He pretty much could get to any ball. There's very few balls he could potentially get. But when I see this team bounce back 3-0, I think after the second goal, I was like, I didn't think there was no way RSL was going to come back. Obviously, Bogus got his first goal in that PK. What'd you think of Bogus? Obviously, it was a PK, but look, it was good for him to another LAFC player to get a goal in there. What would you think about that?
What was interesting to me is that Denny Bouanga is still on the pitch, and he gives up the penalty to Mateusz Bogus, the same Denny Bouanga who is currently in a Golden Boot race. He's in an MVP race already early in this season, so he needs those stats matter for him, and the individual accolades will add up. But that's not what he's thinking about. He's thinking about his teammate and acclimating his teammate into the team, getting his teammate his first goal, and giving him that confidence. And that, to me, is a fantastic teammate.
Yeah, look, he's selfless, and it's amazing. That typically happens when you're winning, because like, hey, he knows he's gonna get more opportunities. He knows he's gonna get more goals, more opportunities. But look, if you're willing to do that and be a self-serving leader, right, with your teammate, I mean, next time I'm pretty sure Bogus is gonna look for him in an assist or whatever. Get the extra ball for him going around. Obviously, Fabian, outside looking in, obviously you're not as in tune or cover this team as closely, but outside looking in, what are your overall thoughts of LAFC?
Yeah, good team. I mean, to be honest, on paper, probably the best team in MLS, right? A team that they lost, like you said earlier, Chicho Arango, and they haven't missed a beat. So a team that is full of talent, has a lot of games on paper, but it's going to be hard to go into BMO Stadium and get a W. It's going to, especially the way we played against LA Galaxy, but it's possible. But again, we might have to get lucky with rotations and everything. What's going on with LAFC?
Yeah, because look, just in obviously LAFC is going to want that revenge this coming week. They got SKC this Wednesday, then Saturday they got San Jose. And then I think next week is El Tráfico US Open Cup edition, and then that's the final game until the CCL. So 3 games that they have, and I'm very interested to see because this is a very interesting week for LAFC. You could pretty much say, I don't know, they may not even need to play Wednesday with the first team or whatever. They can play with the LAFC 2 guys. Give that another go because they were successful against Monterrey. Obviously, they got that big win down there. And then you got San Jose, and then was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I forgot when they play LA Galaxy. But it's such a tight schedule, and I feel like two out of these next 3 games may not be as I don't want to say as important, but as I don't know, because you got Leon coming up the May 31st. I'm just very interested to see which game to decide to actually, because you still need to play one more game with all your guys. So I wonder which is it, the Galaxy game that you play everybody, you give everybody minutes, or do they take 2 games? They play 2 strong games until the Leon match away. What are your thoughts?
It's a very interesting situation because especially when you look at the other side, Leon are out of their, playoffs in Liga MX. They're off for 3 weeks ahead of the CCL final, right? So they're rested, but they're also not playing. And so there's 2 sides to that coin. Steve Sherlondo said, I'm happy to be playing, maybe not quite the amount of games that he has leading up to this, but there is an entire week's rest between that Tuesday game against Galaxy, as you mentioned, in the U.S. Open Cup, and then the following week in Leon. So there is a large gap there, and you can have the full rest, but it will be interesting. Do you play your first team in these 3 games in a week? Do you rotate against San Jose? Do you rotate against Galaxy? Where do you see the rotation coming? Because there will be some. The question is how much and in what games.
Yeah, because look, 2 of the SKC, they're not good. I mean, obviously, I think LAFC respects every team, but look, they got so many games going on that they got to see which games are going to be. Obviously, the CCL is more important. It tops everything else. So, and I mean, it's just a very interesting situation because the more they win, the more games they play. Like, right? So it's so weird. Like you typically tend, right, the more wins you typically get an easier schedule, but just how congested this year is with everything with Leagues Cup coming up and all these different tournaments. It's going to be very special to see what they got going on. Obviously, Fabian, Saturday. What are some other players that we could potentially see from San Jose? I mean, because we know Cade Cowell, he ended up going to the
Yep.
World Cup. Was it the U22 World Cup?
U20.
What are some other players that are standing out from San Jose outside of Espinoza?
Yeah, I wanted to say this too. So the Galaxy is also known to play their first team in the U.S. Open Cup. So it's something that it's kind of a mind game in a sense where, oh, is the Galaxy going to go ahead and play their full strength lineup again to get this win? So you can't almost take off that match because they might play their first team with
Oh,
two.
they will. They will.
Goalies, yeah. So
They will. Yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting what LAFC has to do. But yeah, the guys who the Quakes are bringing up, Kid Cal, yeah, is with Argentina in Argentina for the U20 World Cup. He's balling already. Already scored 2 goals against Senegal. So Quakes fans are really excited about that. But another guy, that didn't have the best game in LA was Jamir Montero. I mean, if he can get rolling, he's a different player when he's on the score sheet. And it was evident that maybe the guys weren't ready for that LA Galaxy Classico. I mean, honestly, it's probably the best environment because that's the least full I've ever seen a Cali Classico in my life. So it was just something where, maybe the guys weren't expecting not that many people to show up, and they never really woke up and noticed that it was a Cali Classico. But again, this LAFC match is not going to be the same. There's going to be tons of people at this game. And they're going to, like you said, they're going to want revenge. And if we're going to do anything, players like Jackson Newell have to step up. You can't go absent, especially against the midfield like LAFC. And I would even say LAFC's midfield is better than the Galaxy's, but the Galaxy has a strong midfield. And unfortunately, Jackson Newell was nowhere to be found along with Jamir Montero. So those guys have to be a little bit more aggressive and get involved into the run of play with the San Jose Earthquakes if they want to do anything.
Yeah, no, that game is going to be very interesting. Obviously, especially the turnaround that San Jose has had. I mean, you guys for the last couple of years has been up and down. Obviously, we started this podcast talking about Almeida and everything going on there. Obviously, to see you guys towards the top of the table, I guess I know it has to be definitely exciting for you guys, and I was definitely exciting for all of San Jose because look, what teams that obviously we got the two teams here in LA, but I think if you're able to make some noise up there, and you guys have obviously the history as well, but I think when San Jose is doing what San Jose is doing this year, all right, I think at least from your guys' side, there's a lot more hope. But when you have a game like you did, I think yesterday against the LA Galaxy, I think that that's what makes it interesting. Like what team is this? Which team is this?
Right.
Because they played the Galaxy last year. They were at the bottom of the table, and they honestly they got up at one. So is this team? Is San Jose still trying to figure themselves out?
Yeah, this is like a Jekyll and Hyde situation where, we're really good at home. We play very well at home. And then once we're on the road, it's almost like these guys need to wake up a bit, or they have to realize that, hey, we need some points on the road. And they've been in the lead on the road quite often. They just, unfortunately, they always give up a late goal. Some defensive kind of mistake happens where a late goal goes in. And I know we're going to talk about this a little later, but it's same thing happened with Jovic. I mean, he got that crazy goal went right when he walks into the game, and it's like, oh, well, there's another late goal on the road. So it's just something where the Quakes need to do a little bit better at closing out games. And if the San Jose Earthquakes get on the board first, they're a little bit more in control, and they tend to either get points or win more when they score first. And that was evident in the LAFC Levi's game. If we were behind in that game, I'm not so sure we would win. We would have won it. But since we were in the lead, or we scored first, we were in the driver's position the whole time. And when the Quakes they tend to get results when they're in the lead first.
That's interesting. Definitely something to point out this Saturday. Justin, one more thing I want to ask you about this game. John McCarthy, he made MLS Team of the Week. He was a keeper on the starting lineup there that the MLS posted. Let's talk a little bit about John McCarthy just to close off this part of this game, and what you like from him in this game.
He's been great. I mean, the entire season, whether it's in Champions League, MLS play, he has been a lockdown goalkeeper, making really tremendous saves. And I think Maxime Crepeau is working his way back. He is in training, trying to get ready to be fit enough to play an MLS match. And once he is fit enough, Steve Cherundolo is going to have a serious decision on his hands about who his starting goalkeeper is, because John McCarthy has been just as good, if not better, than Maxime Crepeau was last season. And I think the one thing that Maxime does have to his advantage is he's better with his feet than John McCarthy is. But John McCarthy keeps coming up with incredible saves to make his argument. So I asked Steve that question after the match in RSL, and he said, we're very happy that we have a difficult decision. We built the team intentionally to have that difficult decision in the goalkeeper. And there's three great goalkeepers in the LAFC organization. But he also said, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, because he doesn't want to give anything away.
No, and honestly, it would be hard to even think about that, right? Until that becomes a situation. But this is just me thinking out loud. I think you got to stick with John McCarthy. He's played these games, and I think in-game experience or in-game, even for a keeper, you have to get a couple games. Say Maxime Crepeau is available next game or whatever. Right, with all these games, it would be a great game to right. Say he was available tomorrow or Wednesday, it'd be a great game to throw him in against SKC or something like that, just to see how he's doing. But like also the backup goalkeeper did an amazing job, right? At the U.S. Open Cup, he got that saving PK. So you mentioned three great goalkeepers, and it's like, this is how crazy, this is how good this team is. They have three solid goalkeepers that all could potentially start for them. And, that's when you talk about the eliteness of LAFC. Literally almost every single position, there's really, really great depth, right? There's maybe a few that, you could add a little bit more. But regardless, a lot of these guys that they're on the bench, coming off the bench, would be starting for a lot of other MLS teams. And that just speaks volumes and everything. Look, and if they're able to accomplish what we all assume they can potentially accomplish, yeah, man, you got to talk about LAFC as being one of the best teams, if not the best team, potentially ever for MLS. And I know that may rub some people the wrong way, but when you're able to accomplish what you did within this last 6 months on top, and you get a CCL championship, like I don't know, I don't think there's any other argument, in my opinion, with this, with how many new teams you got in this new MLS 2023 compared to back in the day, and also the recruiting. There's some of the restrictions and all in the tight schedule. It would just be impressive. Fabian, give me your thoughts on what I just had to say.
Yeah, look, even when I saw, the San Jose Earthquakes lose this weekend in LA, and I was just like, man, LAFC, they're a different breed. I mean, they go on the road to RSL and nothing changes. They win 3-0. Even if it's not their stadium, they would go ahead and do whatever is necessary to get that W and to go ahead and make sure they keep going. So this team is like a well-oiled machine where no matter what guys are playing, Steve always has them playing well and the style that he wants. And from the outside looking in, this is a scary team. And I do agree with you that this maybe is one of the best teams we've ever seen in MLS in this last year span. I mean, the playoffs was insane. Unfortunately, Bale's not with the team anymore, but that team was extremely deep. And this team is extremely deep again. I mean, 3 starting goalkeepers. I mean, there's teams that wish they had one, right? So it's just something where it's like this team is stacked. And Aaron Long coming in to be your, fourth center back, right? It's something where people want to be a part of this team. It almost reminds me of, we take this basketball reference where people wanted to go play for LeBron. I mean, it's the same thing. People want to go play for a serious contender, and that is the LAFC. And you guys are, reaping the fruits of the labor. Or, yeah, you guys are getting all the talent, and you're getting every job done that's necessary. So this LAFC team is good. I'm a that.
Yeah, no, and I think also on top of that, there's just so many things that just go on with this team, and you just mentioned, right? Players want to play for this team, right? And it's also like you can play, you can dominate teams, you can be exciting. Obviously, you talk about we've talked about the fan base of 32-52. There's an atmosphere thing to it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you got to live in LA. You got to live in Southern California, just somewhere in Southern California. It doesn't have to be LA. That, to many people, with the great weather we have, that is just the cherry on top. Obviously, you don't always get to choose get to live in a great location, but with the football stuff coming first, and right, and if you got to choose between any other option, I think obviously if you can make the LAFC is definitely the number one option. If you can't, then obviously you got to look elsewhere. And I think that's where LAFC will have its greatest leverage in any situation with any player around the league. Maybe different if you're talking about an international superstar, but even then, they've been able to attract them. Like I mentioned last time, the 2 most recent superstars, Chiellini and Bale, they've been able to come over here. Right now, we'll see if that trend continues, right? Because potentially Messi may come to the MLS. That's looking like Inter Miami. Right, but why would he go to Inter Miami when when there's a better option, Messi? But look, that's just me just saying things. But yeah, Justin, let's talk about that a little bit, because obviously of being able to attain and attract players, and LAFC being able to have that leverage with their success.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it many times. It's the depth that they've been able to bring in, but it's the quality of depth rather than the number, right? It's not quantity, it's quality. And I think that's the difference from 2022, because in 2022, LAC also had a lot of depth, but it was more depth of numbers. Whereas now you brought in players like Stipe Biuk, like Mateusz Bogusz. These are some of the most talented youngsters in Europe that you're finding a way to bring to Los Angeles, because they see a place where they can shine, a place where they can play attacking football that can, give them highlight reel plays and show them, make a good real highlight for them to get a bigger move back to Europe. So, Stipe Biuk is a great example, because he was a Golden Boy finalist, which is, as good as you can get. When you're talking about the likes of Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, those are the types of players that Stipe Biuk was in a category with as a Golden Boy finalist. And to have him in MLS, we haven't necessarily seen the top ability from him yet, but it's players like him. Mateus Bogus, I think we've seen a little bit more from. Timothy Tillman is a great example. A player that has just seamlessly fit in, now has made the switch over to the U.S. men's national team. Hopefully he'll get a call up there soon. But it's really just great to see the amount of quality and the way that LAFC have switched to look at Europe and not just South America.
Yeah, and I think that's been a great switch. David Day says LAFC is not one of the big spending teams either. The front office is stellar. I would have to agree with that. That I mean, they're not one of the tops. You see Toronto, you see what the Galaxy have done. Like Toronto's spending a lot of money, 16, was it 15 million
on contracts, sure.
What's his name? But yeah, but that I mean,
Steve Abiu cost $6.5 million.
That's not 15 million. That's not 15.
Well,
million.
You're talking about a contract versus a transfer fee, right? And
yeah, well, that's what I mean. But that's what you mean. We got to pay a player $16 million $15 million every year. That's a lot of money. Transfer fee is different because that's what you paid for the player. But what you're paying the player every year is different because the fee may be just a one-time thing. Look, the MLS fees are not like Europe type of fee.
That's what big spend. When you're talking about a club being a big spender, you're talking about transfer fees generally, because the way that contracts work in MLS.
Well, let me. I meant like spending in the roster is how I understood it. Right. How David was saying it. Was mentioned.
I don't think
that's how I understood it, like how the roster, how much they pay per roster. I think the Galaxy.
What I was saying is that the roster rules in MLS are very restrictive. They're very specific. So one team is not able to spend a vast majority, an exorbitant amount more than another. You can look at the 3 DPs, and Insigne is paid what, 6-7 million more than the second most highest paid player in the entire league. So yeah he has a huge contract, but overall, the contract structures of every MLS team are rather similar. So when I talk about big spending, I'm talking about transfer.
Yeah, we don't. Okay, let's not confuse everybody here. Let me just break it down. DP wise, let's put it this way. Let me just break it down. DP wise, they're not spending towards the top, right? Because DP you can spend as much as you want. DP wise, is Insigne, you got Chicharito at 7 million, and I forget the next one. Carlos Vela does 6, but still, like you got so many teams that are so top heavy on DPs that it doesn't, even if you're so top heavy. Look at with Shaqiri as well. With Chicago, it's been a disaster there, and it's just, to me, it's also that the front office. I guess the big point, point I'm trying to make is also the front office understands that they don't need to pay whatever they're paying Carlos Vela, which I think may be the most expensive DP that they have, more than $3 million or whatever. They don't need to pay 10 million. They don't need to pay 15 million to be competitive and win trophies. And that in itself, then that in its sense, it's a skill itself, because you don't even, you need some superstars. You need superstars in LA, but if you don't need to pay them, right? When Gareth Bale came, he wasn't making more than 1.5 as a TAM deal. That is a skill in itself. And that what the front office is doing is just insane. And to continue that over and just be savvy and do this masterclass of how to, with all these restrictions, and be able to build this team. To me, look, I keep saying it, but it's just impressive because there's still you just mentioned there's so many restrictions with this league and understanding on all these different things. Yeah, transfer free is a whole different thing in my opinion when I was talking to this thing specific. But when I see how LAFC really understands some rules and they can use them to their advantage, it's just insane. Fabian, outside looking in, what are your thoughts on some of the moves that LAFC has done money-wise?
Yeah, look, so I think all three of us can really talk about this because we've all been to different stadiums, but LAFC does every little thing correct as a club in the United States. And I want to say this, you know, their practice field has cameras on it. You know, like these little things where it's like where every single player feels like they're actually playing for the biggest club in the United States, a stadium in the middle of downtown, a stadium full of fans, again, with 3252 singing their hearts out, you know, traveling heavy, making these players feel like, you know, wow, I really play for the biggest team in the United States. And all the celebrities that go to all the games, again, these little things add up to something where you get a Tillman where he's going to play his best football of his life because he's playing for the most important club in the United States, a place where we're not talking about, I hate to say it, we're not talking about Colorado. We're talking about the LA Lights. You're in the middle of the city, right? You're a superstar. So you get these players like Tillman or Bawanga where they're really playing the best soccer possible because everything around them is perfect. I mean, the weather, you got security of you get the best security in the league, right? Where in Monterey, you got people taking pictures with the security guard, right? So it's these little things where you're I hate to say it, you're the best well-run club in the league, and you're going to get the best out of your players when that's the case. And with the transfer fees, San Jose paid $4 million for Carlos Gresso, and the way they kind of do it is they actually worked it into his contract. So he is a DP for us because they are paying for the transfer fee with DP money. So it also depends on, what the team does with that transfer fee. Do they put it into the salary, or is it something where they're paying out of pocket? But no, I think LAFC does a great job being a low spending club because they're doing, or not the highest spending club because they do the best possible job with every little thing that's run with this organization. So they can get guys to come on the cheap, like a Bale or even a Chiellini, where a team like Colorado or RSL or even San Jose is going to have to pay top dollar because they aren't the best run club in the league.
Yeah, no, you look. I think just to cloud out, that's a great point right there because look, if you don't, that's what I'm saying. The more LAFC wins, the more leverage they have to attract better players and just any player that they could potentially get in the MLS. If you're the number one option, you and you're a team, look, you want to come here and win. Well, hey, these may be. Now, I'm not saying this is how LAFC operates. I'm saying that's a great leverage that they have as an organization because one, you're gonna be able to fight for a job, fight for a position. Look what Tillman did. If you're that talented and you can make it to this team, you're gonna have a shot. That's just the math, and especially a coach with like Steve Cherno and how he gives every player an opportunity. If you're talented, you're gonna get a shot. But look, let's move on from this. Let's talk about obviously Fabian. I know you came from all the way to San Jose. You came down this week. What did you see? Obviously, this game. Obviously, San Jose didn't get the win. They ended up losing to the Galaxy. You've been a part of a lot of Cali Clásicos. You mentioned it was very empty. What are your thoughts of the supporters, everything that's been going on with that team?
Yeah, it was tough. Those guys, they're a great group of guys, and they do a really good job at home. But this last weekend for Mother's Day, it looks like maybe they were missing their moms a little bit. They were a little lethargic. So it was something where these guys needed a bit of a wake up call. I wanted Chicharito to score a goal and start dancing like a clown again to get fired in this San Jose side, and unfortunately, the goal came in with kind of a pinball in the box, and then the Quakes guys, complaining maybe it's offsides, and you don't really want that type of goal to go in such a big matchup because you want the storylines, right? You want the players to be mad at Chicharito for dancing like a clown, right? So it's something where, I never thought the guys really woke up this last weekend, and me included. I mean, I started driving at 5 a.m. and I didn't even wake up to watch, the game at the stadium. So I totally understand. Maybe they were out there for 2 days, so maybe it could have been, they didn't feel like the game was their priority that weekend because of maybe Mother's Day or something. But hopefully we get a different San Jose team against LAFC, and I think we will. I mean, every player likes to be the person that shuts the crowd up, right? Every player wants to shush the crowd, be in the face of the away supporters, and I think we might get that from San Jose. And maybe the stadium not being full, or maybe there was some supporters groups there, or one supporters group. If you guys follow LA Galaxy as well, you know what supporters group I'm talking about. But maybe they were missing that hostile environment that LA Galaxy didn't have this weekend. So again, the least amount of people I've ever seen at a Cali Classico. It almost made me think that like NorCal has this fascination with beating LA, and then LA doesn't even know they exist. So it's something where it was like it was something that I couldn't believe it. I was like, you didn't bring your mothers out here to watch the Cali Classico. So but no, this game versus LAFC is going to be something where It's gonna be fun. Or maybe everyone's like, the Lakers beat the Warriors. We don't gotta see it again. We already know who's better.
Yeah, rub it on Justin. I forgot to mention that. I meant to look. I'm wearing my Kobe shirt. I don't know if you can see it. You see the Kobe shirt. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I wear it for Justin. I was like, oh, he's a Warriors fan. I can't wait to rub it in. But look, thank you, Fabian.
Yeah.
Had to bring it up, Favi.
It had to bring it up. I completely forgot about it. No, but Justin, has the Cali Classico obviously is that even still a thing? I mean,
I hope so. I hope so.
No. Like I know the Galaxy is going through what they're going through, but like a rivalry still going on. Like
I'll tell you what, San Diego is about to save it because San Diego coming into MLS is about to create what I would like to call the Copa California. And if you have that, if you
heard it here first, breaking news, Justin, I'm giving it to you. Justin has coined Copa California.
There we go. I'll take credit. I think that if you create what they've created in Texas with their 3 teams, the Copa Tejas, you can create that even more to a greater extent with 4 teams within California. And obviously 3 of them are in the South, but you can create a really big rivalry between the 4 teams. They all want to beat each other. The 3 already don't like each other. LAFC and San Jose, starting to become a bigger hatred with San Jose now being able to hand LAFC some losses. So yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting and hopefully can be a 4-way rivalry.
Yeah, that would be interesting, right? Because if you have San Diego, whenever they come into the league, obviously the 2 teams in LA, and then San Jose, who's the best team in California, right? Obviously you'll have who's the best team in LA. That's always going to be a thing. But now California, San Jose is able to continue and have a successful season every year, and then you don't know what's going to happen with the Galaxy, but if San Diego has can start off strong, we know some new. We saw now everybody's going to be St. Louis and maybe a FC Cincinnati. We still got to see what San Diego will be, but you make a great point that's another rivalry that someone's going to want to see, right? Copa California, that's going to be exciting. What do you think about that, Fabian?
Yeah, it's gonna be like, what city has the best Mexican food? And I'm gonna tell you this. You guys are close to Mexico, but don't sleep on the Mission style burritos because we put everybody on the map with that. So
is that what San Jose is known for? The burritos?
No. So that's San Francisco actually. So San Francisco is known for their Mission style burritos, and your guys' burritos maybe in LA. You
don't like a Cali burrito. You don't like the California burrito.
French fries in a burrito. I don't know. So it's like soccer. Who knows? Maybe we sneak upon the best team in California, just like how we have the best burritos, right? San Diego's pretty close, so they're gonna get those really skinny burritos, and no one really likes that. So
if we're comparing, let's compare tacos. That's how we really know. All right.
Now if we're talking basketball, like you just did, change it to tacos, we're gonna lose, right? We already lost.
Hey, look, I saw some LAFC fans for that San Jose game talking about the Bay Area tacos are terrible because they're going to San Jose getting tacos. That's not where you get tacos at. Go to Oakland, get yourself some tacos. Then we can have the Bay Area, LA, San Diego debate. Then is going to get serious.
Yeah, but no, it's going to be a good time when San Diego comes in, and it's going to be fun. Like you said, Justin, Copa California is going to be something where it's going to be a great time. But again, yeah, I mean, El Tráfico is, unfortunately for San Jose fans, the rivalry that has taken the main stage in California. And it just proved the point last Sunday where I couldn't believe how many people were in the stands. I mean, you know how the saying goes, it's like everybody and their mother showed up to the game. Well, no, it wasn't that. Everybody and their mother didn't show up to the game on Mother's Day. So, yeah, unfortunately, I always say this too, man. San Jose, I wish we had Ricky Puig. I wish we had Chicharito and Martin Cáceres, these superstars that play in LA and they don't sell tickets. It's crazy to me where in San Jose we have, solid attendance with 45,000 in Levi's, but we don't have a single name that's like that. I mean, we have Christian Espinoza.
The Christian Espinoza slander is palpable.
Let's be honest, though. Martin Cáceres is a World Cup player. I mean, Jonathan Mensah is as well, but you get guys like, Gaston Brugman, where he's a player that if you know South American soccer, he's still a name that could possibly, bring some heads in. But again, unfortunately, the Galaxy have a lot of riches, and they're not realizing that, or at least the fan base yesterday doesn't notice that their team up north doesn't have a lot of those players that they have, and it's just unfortunate to see that it was the smallest Cali Classico attendance I've ever seen.
Yeah, look, that just brings up to a point that I've had about the Galaxy. It's like, look, they're able to check all these superstars, but they just have such a poor culture, or poor. They're run poorly or organizationally, because when a team that's Chicharito, Ricky Puig, I mentioned this to Justin the other day, um, and Douglas Costa should not be this bad,
Right.
right? Because there's any other team in the league would die to have any of those players, and just
Right.
one of those players. And it just you bringing that up, it just people, you have Espinoza, which obviously is an amazing player doing MLS, but to be honest, look, if you're going to compare Espinoza and Chicharito's a world renowned name.
Yeah.
This is not a diss on him. It's just a proving a point that um just because you have big names doesn't mean you're going to be successful. And just because I think there's a lot more that goes into how poor the Galaxy have been, but there's just so many different things, so many different aspects, that it just goes to show, like, you have to be a solid organization. You can't just put a band-aid and bring in a Chicharito, or bring in a Ricky Puig, or bring in this player, these type of players. You actually have to put in the work,
Yeah.
right? And we have two different ends of the spectrum. We got LAFC
Exactly.
who's killing it, and you got Galaxy who's been just terrible with their DPs and their players, and then you got San Jose, who aren't able to attract these type of players, but still
Right.
can be successful. And it just goes to show everybody has their own model. And look, San Jose is always going to have their own model that way, because you're never going to be able. San Jose is never going to be able to attract a Chicharito. Or look, I'm just going up, because it's going to go through LA first, right? And
Yeah.
and if it goes through LA, obviously they're
Well,
going to pick them up.
this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start joining the marketing team or the GM team for the San Jose Earthquakes and say, hey, Zlatan, if you come back to MLS, we'll throw in a Tesla and you'll be there. You'll be
That's
there.
not gonna. I don't think that's gonna help him.
You don't
I
even
don't
have
think
to
he needs a
drive. You'll
Tesla.
be in LA in 3 hours. You can sleep. Don't worry about it. You're not that far away from LA if you come play in San Jose. If we were in San Francisco, it's a little far. It's about an hour to
Well,
San
San
Jose.
Francisco's not even a bad place. Well, right now it's a bad place to live, depending.
Yeah. Well, let's not get into that.
Yeah,
But, yeah, but exactly. So I mean, I gotta throw in some Teslas. Be like, hey, Ricky, Javier Chicharito is the biggest name in MLS. I'm gonna say, just be honest. That dude is doing everything during the week but practicing. He's at Coachella. He's at the Lakers games. He's hanging out with Peso Pluma. I mean, this guy is a marketing genius. He's
good,
Twitch
he's good.
streaming. It's a player that, man, you guys can't sell out your stadium for this guy. I mean, this guy's a legend for a lot of people in this North America. So again, it's a player that, growing up, I was like, I didn't really like, because I was a big USA fan, but man, this guy is a legend for a lot of people. And it shocks me that this is happening to the LA Galaxy. And then on the other side, you have LAFC, where you're starting to get stars, or at least with Bawanga, Tillman, people that weren't household names becoming household names.
Yeah.
Like like you said earlier, a different side of the spectrum. But I'm gonna have Chris Leach, have me on the team, and I'm just gonna have to tell them, hey, we're throwing in Teslas if you come play in San Jose.
I think the price is gonna have to go up higher than a Tesla.
You get to your location, you're in Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in 3 hours. All right, I'm just gonna say that. All right, you're just like in LA. You're just living out in the outskirts. Okay, don't worry about it.
You might have to throw him on a helicopter. Helicopter, maybe. No, David Day brings up a great point. He says doubleheader at SoFi, San Diego versus Galaxy, LAFC versus San Jose. Whenever that would be interesting. Now, because you're gonna have a lot of these SoFi games. Also, by the way, Barcelona and Arsenal are gonna play. They're gonna play a exhibition match at SoFi July 26th. So that's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be really, really good. But yeah, look, I think this is a solid pod. I don't think we need to add anything else, unless Justin, you like to add anything in closing statements.
No, man, I think it's gonna be a great game. I agree with everything that you guys are saying. It's interesting to see the way that San Jose can find players like a Jeremy Ebobisse who produces the same numbers as Chicharito does last season, but is not nearly the type of name, right? So there's success in different ways in this league. And then, of course, drawing fans is a whole different game. So very, very fun to watch and to look at all those different type of things.
Yeah, no, Favian, any last words?
Yeah, hey, look, FC Dallas plays in Frisco, Texas, which I think, part of my ignorance, they're probably like 3 hours away from Dallas, right? So it's almost the same thing. We're just on the outskirts of LA. We're about to say, who's coming? Isco? Isco's a free agent still. Falcao. We're not that far from LA, guys. This is LA North. We're basically we're just right past the Hollywood sign. Don't worry about it. There's Teslas out here. Come play in San Jose. We're excited for you.
Fabi, you make it his pitch.
Hey, I like the pitch. I like the pitch. You gotta start off. You gotta start off somewhere. But yeah, Fabian, let them know where they can follow you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. A lot of you LAFC fans know probably as Mr. Big Yikes. So
okay. Hold on. Before we let you go, we gotta address this. So Fabian became very popular on Twitter the week LAFC went to go play Monterrey. I completely forgot about this. But he said big yikes because LAFC wasn't playing their starters because of the schedule. So you've become famous on Twitter with the big yikes. As some people are going to make a shirt. How do you feel about your tweet? Is there anything you regret? You would take back?
Well, you know what? I went ahead and I seriously thought the San Jose squad went out there with all their starters to play Monterrey. But at the time, Monterrey actually had more players. They had a lot of missing pieces for that LAFC match. And I was like, man, LAFC thinks they can bring these LAFC 2 guys and win. Man, I ate my words so hard because these LAFC 2 guys, they played their hearts out. These young players, which I have a couple of friends on this team too. So I was just like, this is the team that hasn't won a game in MLS Next Pro. Show that heart and that grit. They actually probably had my tweet up there somewhere printed out, and then they touched it. This guy's going to be proven wrong. And that fan base and the LAFC fan base really backed up their boys and proved me wrong too. So
were you sweating when they were going to PKs? You're like, please don't let them win. Please don't.
You know what? A part of me, once I saw Jakovic do the same thing that Divo Martinez does, I'm like, oh, no, this is gonna happen. This is really gonna happen, And then all of a sudden, there's a whole corner in Monterrey. Justin can talk about it too. I think it was the 32-52, or at least many pieces of it. They were out there just cheering their hearts out for Jakubovic to do these saves, and then he was giving it right back to him. So I was like, oh no, it's really gonna happen. I'm about to be on a T-shirt. And all these LAFC fans, I helped cover the MLS Cup. I talked to many LAFC players, and I never had a tweet bang. But now I'm gonna look like I'm that Monterrey Bay writer, and I'm like, dude, Monterey's cool, but I'm not really their writer. So, but no, it's a great time.
Even Justin has a scarf there.
Yeah, man, I had to cop. Oh no, but Fabi's right, because the 32-52, there was no away section in Monterey, so they just decided, okay, we're going to take this one section and just turn it into an away section.
It was insane. It was something that I was really proud of LAFC. I was like, dude, all of them migrated over to this one side, and then it gave them the energy to help win the game. So the fans deserve that W too. And I was just like, oh man, when something that you write about does better for a different fan base than your own fan base. So it's like, oh no, but no, you guys have a great fan base. LAFC is insane. The amount of numbers and the traction they get online, and they're a really good fan base because they back up their own young boys and LAFC too. And so, yeah, I'm glad I ate my words on that. I love seeing young players, prove me wrong, especially in that case. But yeah, no, LAFC 2 or LAFC deserved that win, and it was a fun time because I was just going home, driving 2 hours sad, seeing my notifications keep blowing up, and I'm just like, oh, okay, Hey, Justin's calling me from the other car. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Mr. Big Yikes, dude? Big Yikes, take that big L." So yeah,
hey, you took it like a champ. You took that L like a champ. That's all you can ask for, man.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we've all said things that sometimes we could take back, but unfortunately, some of us have never said those on Twitter. So
yeah.
Everybody gets them wrong.
But hey,
gets
people have sent me memes. It's something where I used to have a saying in San Jose where I used to say with a grain of salt with everything. So like, take this with a grain of salt. So I was known as a grain of salt guy. And now I have Mr. Big Yikes. So it's nice, these little personas I pick up around the way. So I'm excited to see what comes next.
if
Hey,
you
man,
want a
I can't
Mr.
wait
Big
for-
Yikes meme, if you want a
Yeah,
Mr. Big Yikes meme, come in my DMs. I got you.
Yeah. I was gonna say I can't wait for what you're about to tweet this week, so I'm looking forward to it.
No. I learned my mistake, so don't give any fuel to the fan base because you guys are on your stuff. So
Look, guys, this has been an amazing pod. It's been amazing. So, man, Justin, brother, I appreciate you for always hopping on, making this exciting. Favian, my brother, always great to see you. Hopefully, I get to see you this weekend. If
definitely.
you come down, you're always welcome to be on the pod. So, man, it's always great having you, and people that tuned in on the live chat. I appreciate you guys, and that's gonna be it. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.